Hi, I'm Brad Ashley.
And I'm Scott Campbell, and we're picking up from the last video, Brad, of where we aligned the point cloud with the images. And since that video, we've gone back, made a few more measurements, and we've lined things pretty nicely. Actually, I can see the light standard there, the lines. This is looking pretty good. In the point cloud, we now have two classifications, ground and I guess not ground is what we're showing here. This is the data are looking pretty good. I'm getting ready to share this with my client, and the project is the LRT extension project, which is the name of the file we have there. So my client can relate to that. We've got the point cloud and we've got 45 images, and we have an aerial map. So is there anything else we'd want to do? I guess this is getting ready to share with the client.
Yeah, I think we're pretty close. And so at this point, we can go through and use that sharing export tool. Once we've done that, it'll pop up and tell us what the folder is going to be named when the data is exported, and how many point clouds and cameras are going to be, point cloud and camera files are going to be included in that export. So as it says here, this may take some time as it runs through the conversion process to prep that to be able to be sent out. So I'll hit the export tool. It'll ask me where I'd like that data to be put. I'll put it in my results folder, select that, and now it'll start to build that export file.
This is looks like it's going pretty quick. And I guess that kind of brings up a point. Engine is pretty savvy when it comes to using GPUs. It auto detects GPUs. And if you've got one or four, it'll use the appropriate amount of GPU.
Yeah, it also depends on how much data you're trying to put in this file.
Yeah.
Larger files will take a little bit longer time. So as you can see, we've successfully exported that data to a static HTML. The folder is now ready, so we can dismiss this. At this point, I would probably go and look at the export. So in my case, I've put it here in this folder called Export LRT Extension. I would probably zip it. It doesn't need to be zipped depending on the files sharing service that you're using, but I like to zip it so that I know that nothing can get edited or lost in that file as it goes. So I'll send that to a compressed file.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Brad. In my experience, some of these cloud sharing services, they sometimes add extra compression, which sometimes doesn't help, especially if it's a sensitive data file. So I would agree with you. Yeah, I think maybe zipping as an extra precaution is probably a good idea. So, okay, so I see that export LRT extension is now zipped. So I'm assuming this is what we're going to be sharing.
That's right. Yeah. So I can put this on. In my case, I'm going to pull it into a OneDrive that's ready to go for you. I'll replace that file since it's already there. So now I can see that file has been loaded on my OneDrive, and I can get ready to send that out. So I'll hit share. It'll pop up and tell me what who's going to get that, if I want to add a message, anything like that, and just copy the link.
And of course, the specific details of the sharing depend upon whether you're using OneDrive or Google Drive or whatever. As long as it's some public file sharing service, you just go in and you grab the link. Okay, so we got the link. Now what's the next step?
So now I'd go into my email, create a new email. And in my case, what I like to do is create a template that I like to use each time with my email. So I've got that popped open. I'll copy and paste that, put it here in the email. And then I'll use that download link that I just had saved there here as the download link in the project. So I'll make this italics. Maybe I'll make it blue so that it stands out. I can make it give it a project name. So in this case, we call that LRT extension. So I can again make that italics, and I can give the time. So it is October 1st and at
12:30.
12:30. Oops. Mountain Time. So that's the information that I need down here in my instructions, I like to tell the people how to use this tool. So download it, unzip the file, the project name. So again, I'll have to give this LRT extension. And then the folder, how to use the mini viewer, and the program open and run will run for a few seconds. So this just runs through all the general information that someone might need to know or want to know about what's happening here.
So I guess what we're trying to get at here, Brad, is for anybody watching this video and wanting to share a project like we're doing, it is best practice to have a template where you share the details so that your client knows exactly what it is that they've received, when that export was created, how to download it, and then more importantly, when they've downloaded it, what to do with it once they've downloaded it.
That's right. So
Okay,
I'll
so
put your email in there.
yeah,
I'll
you send it off to me.
A name, and I'll hit the send button. And so that file will go, and obviously I'll open it from my sent file. But once you receive that, you're going to see the link to the download project.
Yep.
And so I can click on that download. It'll open my OneDrive. I can download that specific file.
And of course, when I'm downloading, I can put it wherever I want to. I can put it back up in the cloud. I can put it on a local computer, on my local computer, wherever.
That's right.
And of course, the downloading of this depends upon your cloud provider and your internet link.
So now I have it saved locally, and I can now do the extract. So I'll run that extract files. I can open it. And now inside this folder is where, as per my email that I sent to you, it says that there's a web folder and a mini viewer exe. So I can double click that viewer.
And I guess just to recap what we were saying earlier is the web folder, that's where the data sits. You're probably better off to leave that alone. It can be used for other things, such as putting on a web page, but we're not going to go into that. Just reach out to us if anybody has a question. So stay out of the web folder, just click on the mini exe file.
Yeah, and as you can see here, I've now opened this. This is just in Chrome. You can see the data that's been loaded in here. You can also see that we've got the manage option, so I can turn the data on and off. I can use the measure commands here, just like we could inside of the engine viewer. But I can also go into the settings, change the way I'm looking at this. So again, if my data has been colorized by RGB, I can do that. If I've got my classifications, I can see that. I can turn each classification on and off. All of the general settings and options. The real limitation here is I can't add additional data, and I can't change the projection or the project name. All of that stays static. I still have access here to my aerial view as well. And so I can go back and forth.
And of course, the aerial view is really useful, especially for a client, to figure what the orientation is of the project within a particular space.
That's right.
So yeah, so it looks very much like it does inside Engine, but as you say, it's limited in that, you know, they can't load any other data. It is just this project. And it starts with the view, the last view of what we were looking at in Engine.
That's right. So now if someone goes, or I go and I add additional data into my engine side of things, back here on the engine viewer side, again, you can see that I now have file and tools. So this is back on the engine side. If I were to make changes to this data, or I was to add additional data sets, change the folder name, etc., I would want to go back to tools, re-export that, and reshare that new export with the new time and date of that export so that the client could have the most up-to-date data set.
Yeah, yeah. And that's really important. You know, unlike our other offering, Encompass has synchronous data. Everybody's looking at the data at the same time. Whereas in this one, it's what we call asynchronous, which means you could have more current information than I do, but it is a really easy way of sharing data.
That's right, Scott.
Well, that's awesome. So I think that's great. We've gone through the full gamut. You showed me how to download and license my engine, how we use it then to process data and clean it all up. including the really cool data liner. I thought that was pretty cool. How I could classify using that optional object classification tool, and right down to where we are right now, which is sharing all of that work with the client. That's really key. Now, if anybody has more questions, how do they get in contact with us?
Yeah, so as you can see on my screen here, we've got the information for the contact information. So reach out anytime to info@solv.com, and we're always happy to get back to you. Set up a demonstration, set up an evaluation account, whatever you might need.
Well, that's great, Brad. Thanks very much for your help on this.